crazy. For the last 2 years, those have been teams that we've been constantly talking about in Europe. So, oh man, we'll see if times are changing here. It's time to get everything started. BOE here, red team, will be the first ban here on the right side. So we're going to see what Dignitas would like to get rid of.
Yeah, this is also for me something, exactly. I want to see exactly this. And ban out Marquez Genji. He has been so impactful in the previous series that they played in HGC that I don't think you want to give that over to them. Unless you plan to pick him as the first pick yourself, get rid of it. Make sure that Maka just doesn't have that impact that he had last week.
There's the answer back. It's going to be the Uther. Does Dignitas move straight into a Nubrak? We've been seeing JPL favor him more as of late, not the Stitches, as they've been able to handle him pretty well. But there's also the other pickups of Greymane being a pickup for them. Also, you have to worry about maybe Make moving in at Falstad. They've been favoring him more as of late, but not something you want to grab too early on BOE.
Another thing to take into consideration here is that we are currently on the Stukov patch. So yes, Stukov himself is not allowed, but of course the changes that came with him are currently in today's series. So that takes a bit of a priority of some of the heroes here. And for example, Nuburak is still a hero that is incredibly strong and offers the utility, but he doesn't have the same tankiness anymore that he did before. So it's one of those heroes where you have to say, hey, do we have to run him now in a double tank setup? Do we just run him a little bit differently because he cannot be that beefy frontliner anymore? And Dignitas does something that we are starting to see not only in scrims, but also in HGC a lot more. High priority on Tassadar. So we are starting to go back to the days where Tassadar was a first ban in every single match. It's starting to look like this is going to have a bit of a resurgence.
Well, Tassadar back for Dignitas. Trick Esports answers back with some main staples of their team comp. They pick up the Rhaegar, which we see very often, and move into Greymane. Both great on this battleground, but also great for Trick when they have him on their side. So Rhaegar, Greymane looking good. And going back to that Nubarak real quick, the changes that are in here, a little bit less tanky, as Kador alluded to. There's also the range of projectile has been reduced, and the speed is reduced slightly. So you can ice block it and, of course, dodge it if you need to.
I'm really curious to see how much of an impact, especially the changes with the Nubarak have. In scrims, all of the teams experiment with him still. The utility is still there. He still has his stuns available. He adds incredible value to the team, but you can already tell that he is starting to drop off a bit in priority. And the big question, of course, is how far will that go?
Sure.
Scrims only tell you that much. It's where you experiment a little bit, but once that you are in HGC, you have to make the hard choices. What is really the hero that you put your hopes on? And at this point, Dignitas is saying, hey, with Tassadar being our first pick, we go into the double support Tracer here, and then Arthur is picked also right away for them.
So Tracer and Arthas. Arthas is the main staple for Dignitas on BOE. They like to control the battlefield a little bit better, sit near the Immortals, get the engages they want, move in with Howling Blast, but also to keep that Greymane in check. So Arthas looking good here, and of course Tracer with Dignitas, never a bad pickup.
Yeah, that is something where Trick now has to really think hard about how they want to deal with Tracer. In the past we have seen a lot of variant picks against her, but that has fallen off a bit. A lot of teams are not really willing to pick into a variant when they see the Tracer on the other side, more so if they want to play it as a second tank. One of the problems that you have is that variant just doesn't offer you the wave clear, so you really bank your hopes on having a snipe comp. Then again, if you look at what they are running already with the Greymane in here and the Cursed Bullet coming into play, if you pick a variant, you can also not only threaten Tracer, but you can threaten Arthas.
And this is one of the battlegrounds that wave clear isn't too crazy here. You can peel off your Greymane and have him soak even the Rhaegar to a degree, so Variant's still a very tasty option for them. Illidan has been banned out for Trick Esports. We've been seeing Xaylia on that Illidan very often, and the side lane coming in with the Hunt. And we've seen it on BOE a lot, especially if you're playing against one type of hyper carry. You go in for the engage, kill him off, and if you're able to take away the hyper carry from the opposing team, their team comp just crumbles. So Illidan, no longer available.
Illidan also works really well with what Dignitas already has. They're going into a Tassadar double support composition anyways. Mostly supports Tracer, but if you have then an Illidan in the mix too, he benefits greatly from the double support. So in this case, Trick just says, this is a bit too much, this is overkill, let's get rid of Illidan, just make sure that we can stop that momentum that Dignitas is trying to build up with this aggressive composition. Dignitas themselves now have to really think, okay, what is the biggest threat for us when we are looking at this? And they are getting rid of the solo laner here. They want to make sure that Sonya is not part of this. First of all, there's not a lot of stuns on the side of Dignitas, so it's very rough for them to actually stop the whirlwind.
Yeah.
Also, it's a great solo laner and has a very fair amount of damage against the Immortal, and with the Poison Spear also against Tracer if you connect.
And it's one that Trick Esports has shown in the past very often. They'll go ahead and get a 4-man, get up the defense, send out Sonya to clear out a lane, or even work on the Immortal. They had 2 options now with that Greymane and the Sonya, so a great ban there from Dignitas. Do have to worry, Trick Esports still has possibly that Gul'dan available though. And they've done it twice in the last couple weeks where they've moved into Gul'dan and used him on this battleground very effectively when you think he wouldn't work here.
First, we are seeing Stitches coming into play now. So Stitches for the hook, and most likely it's going to be a pure Trick Battle comp on their side. I don't think they're going to commit into Gorge here. With Greymane, they could use the isolation to get a target down, but if they have a follow-up after the hook, maybe with an additional stun that would work for them. Could definitely see a second tank coming into play. But for now, there we have it. Chen heading into the Chen and the Stitches.
One of the issues with running a Tracer composition, as you were alluding to earlier, is that you are low on CC, and where does Chen thrive, Caldor?
Yeah, when you don't have anything to stop his chugging.
That's right.
When he starts drinking, he's a happy panda, and that's exactly what they want to see here. So Trick going into 2 beefy tanks at the front line, trying to pressure the opponent, and Dignitas has now to round up their composition here. We have a lot of heroes that still work very well against the Immortal. We're talking Tracer, Lunara. You have an abundance of hero that would still... sorry, no, Tracer. Vala and Lunara would be good. Li Ming can provide really solid poke for them. Would actually be a hero that I might be worried of Trick picking here as well, since they don't have a hero for Crosby yet.
Curious though, what does Dignitas move into for the healing on site here? They have their Tassadar already. Do they move into a possible Ariel with that combo that you were mentioning with the Vala and the Lunara? It's definitely a possibility. We leave Arthas in that front tank and go into that Greymane, so it could be scary. They decide to go ahead and move into a Nubrak and Brightwing as the final pickup for Dignitas. So
with Brightwing and a Nubrak, they all of a sudden have interrupts against Chen and can also stun out Greymane when he starts to engage here. That definitely helps them. And here we have Crosby's hero. He's heading into Li Ming as expected, so they have a lot of poke here. And also have, of course, the ability later on to pressure Tracer when she goes deep with Calamity. So there is a lot of potential for both of these teams now. This is just it's so beautiful. Both of them with a completely different style, completely different approach of what they're trying to do here. Also, the Chen now all of a sudden back in the game. And you can see both of these drafts working. If Tracer pops off, if we're having them really just putting all eggs in the Tracer basket and getting the kills in early on, that would be great. You can chase them the entire day. But overall, I'm really happy that we're here right now. I'm really happy that we have those 2 important games today, and this is just map 1, so...
It's a good way to go ahead and kick off our Friday. It's looking great. I mean, on the right side for Dignitas, you have this nice control type of composition. You have a new Barak CC. You have Arthas there available. You can float around the Immortal if you need to. But you also have the dive kick up when Pulse Bomb becomes available. You can phase shift in, drop down the Polymorph, blow up a target if need be. On the left side, you have incredible race here for Trick Esports, but they also have their own blow up with the possibility for a hook into some lockdown, into Li Ming damage with Greymane, and of course Chen just in the back line being a nuisance. It's going to be a fun one between both these teams, and it definitely comes down to the shot calling. Also interesting, we already talked about a few of the scenarios here today, but the one thing that I want to point out and that you guys can take with you into the first game, there is only a very, very little chance that we are going to have a 3-way tie. There are a couple of tiebreaker scenarios in which we would need an extra match, but there is a very small chance that a 3-way tie could actually happen. And this is only the case if Tricked doesn't even win a single map. 3-0s are needed.
Yeah, exactly. So the potential tiebreaker between Dignitas, Tricked, and Expert can only happen if Tricked Esports doesn't take a single map. So if Tricked wins on Battlefield or any other map later on, you are already in the know that there won't be a 3-way tiebreaker. There might still be a tiebreaker match between 2 teams that need to fight for the 3rd spot, but the big 3-way tie, this like crazy scenario, would already be out. Well, it's time to get this started here. Game number 1, Battlefield of Eternity. Tricked Esports taking on Dignitas, and it's all on the line here as we're getting ready for the Western Clash. Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, we're heading straight in as Tricked is facing off against Dignitas in the best of 5. We have Knappe to the left in blue on Rega, Crosby on Li Ming, Make on Greymane, Chen played by Alex the Frog, and we have Stitches played by Ramaballer.
On the right side, in the red, Dignitas looking for some victories here. Snitch will be on top of Tracer, Bakery playing Brightwing, Mane on Tassadar, JPL playing a new Brag, and Zelia will be on Arthas.
Dignitas was nearly out of the Western Clash, and then all of a sudden Liquid loses to the Zealots, and that opened the doors wide again for Dignitas having a chance to qualify. In this series, they want to make that happen, but if Tricked wins the best of 5, then Tricked goes to the Western Clash and Dignitas would be out. So right now, we're already looking at the split. Tassadar zoning around a little bit, just waiting to see where exactly Tricked sets up their lanes. And we have up to the top lane now, a 4-1 split for Tricked only running the Chen down at the bottom lane.
Here it comes back and forth here. Look at Snitch at level 1. He did pick up Pulse Strike, looking to grab those Pulse Bombs as much as possible. Dignitas would love to get those fights later on when Pulse Bomb comes in with an engage from JPL to get that isolation and kill somebody off. Whereas Tricked eSports on the left side, they'll be moving into their spikes at level 7 here from both Greymane and Li Ming. The Calamity, of course, Cocktail Bill coming off, and Stitch's hooks connecting can net kills.
Brightwing in the meantime, by the way, are moving straight up to the top. So originally they had Brightwing down to the bot lane, were waiting who the solo laner would be. And now that they see Chen, they know that Brightwing just doesn't stand a chance on the lane, so they need to rotate Arthas over and take him for now. And when we're talking about Chen, his first talent, Elusive Brawler, is of course also going to be a fantastic talent in particular against the basic attacks that come out of Tracer and also out of Arthas.
Even Tassadar to a degree as well, just really helping out. Being able to negate those auto attacks that come their way, especially if he's aggressive and he works in the auto attacks as he's diving in those back lines. From here, it's all about controlling your lanes in the top, and so far, Dignitas has held their ground, but with Li Ming and Greymane here in the top lane, Trick should be able to answer back well and make sure to rotate down to the Immortal. It's all about the spawn here, as Zelia in the bottom is actually getting harassed pretty hard by that Chen.
Alex is definitely doing solid work on the Chen right now, and I mean, this series is so important. The teams want to go to the offline event, but who is going to make it happen? Every map counts. This week, the teams have been practicing over and over, screaming their minds out. It was absolutely insane to see how much time they put in to prepare for this match. Both of them, of course, and Dignitas at this point, they want to make sure they win the first Immortal. Mane this time on the Tassadar, as both of them are starting to go towards the objective.
Coordinated aggressive defense here from Dignitas, keeping up on the right side for the Immortal. Crosby poking where he can with the Li Ming abilities, but Snitch, every time a spell comes out, jumps forward and starts to harass, working on Pulse Bombs. Hooks do connect here for JPL, but he is going to be pulled back as Rimmer unable to follow up with any type of a CC.
Yeah, at this point also, the teams are more so working towards level 4 than anything else. Down to the bottom of the map, we already have Chen and Arthur still locked into their one-on-one, but the level 4 drops for both of these teams. And immediately we have the extra lifesteal on Tassadar as his talent, whereas we're seeing for Chen now, the Immolation Slam build mostly taken here for Rema as he goes in against Tassadar. Make tries to follow up, gets Polymorph though, moves out, Tracer ult hits him, but he's still fine.
Healed there from Nappe, keeping Make alive. Snitch low on health, though, is going to have to use his recall. Gets away on the side. Hook comes out. Can Snitch get one more blink? Nappe's on the chase. He'll be able to get the bite, and there's a kill for Trick eSport.
First blood for Trick, and they immediately go for the Immortal. Chen is still at that bot lane on the other hand, and that's experience gathered, and Dignitas misses out on an entire wave, but Nappe on the other hand, he goes down. Rega eliminated as Chen finally arrives at the scene. JPL is low though, trying to escape, gets a shield from Tassadar. Here comes the stun circle. Immortal stuns out Greymane and Crosby, and Greymane falls. Crosby gets the helping hand, but might still fall here. Goes down. Li Ming annihilated. Great move by the Immortal.
Dignitas helping out in the fight too, setting up that stun. Good call there with the Immortal and being the MVP for the fight for Dignitas. Dignitas now able to start working on their own Immortal. However, with low death timers, Trick eSports is already on their way back here and should be able to contest around the halftime show. In fact, they're looking to contest before then. Yeah,
that Immortal is definitely going to create a YouTube video showing his fellas how to create stun circles. That one got super good value, but so might that hook. Good value here from Rema. They're getting free damage onto JPL. And Nubarak has to burrow away as we see Trick moving in. And a great start into this with the first kill, but then that double stun happens, and all of a sudden they are on the back foot.
Just a little bit too anxious there, especially around with that Anubarak. Phase shift comes in here from Bakery, helping the heals on JPL. He will be able to engage. He does move forward. He's getting low, but the Pulse Bomb coming out on Nape. Nape's low. Nape's dead.
Nape is too deep in these scenarios. The hook misses Snitch, and they're moving back, but still, the Immortal is super low for Trick. The problem is that Greyman is Grega is too deep in these scenarios. 2 times he was the first target that was killed by Dignitas, and that is becoming a bit of an issue here. Once again, we're seeing the Immortal being attacked, but Greyman is already on the left side trying to chunk Dignitas' objective down as Chen falls as well.
Dignitas coming out with lightning right now. 5-1 kills, cleaning up around the Immortals, and those kills were on top of Trick Esports Immortal. The reason why Nape was so deep was because he thought he had the background to run to and be anchored by his Immortal. But with a great engage there from the JPL, hitting, of course, that burrow charge, they were able to set up that kill, and Nape eventually got picked off. And now, it's all about Immortal pressure, as we're going to have Dignitas pushing in the top.
Dignitas is exploiting the situation quite nicely. Trick is a bit too aggressive with their stance here. They had a good early game, and they put on a lot of pressure, but then they got too confident, and especially Rhaegar just was way too deep both times. So he needs to be careful with his positioning a little bit more. They're doing well up to the point where they start to become too aggressive. And now Dignitas is trying to exploit this once again. They are playing really nicely around the Immortal up to the top now. Snitch has to be careful here, but the defense is strong. And Chen, since Brightwing moved to the top, is now still solo at that bot lane and makes sure that Trick is not falling too far behind in experience.
Yeah, Dignitas was looking to actually get that entire fort. That's why they brought 5 people to the top, hoping to land a Pulse Bomb and get a kill. No opportunity presented itself, though, as Trick Esports played defensively well. They stayed near Rimmer, and Nape is playing even more safe after the last 2 kills, which allowed Chen to get some experience in the bottom and push in those towers. So far, Trick Esports looking okay. They're going to have to make up that experience gap soon, but they're on their way.
Yeah, right now Trick is still in an okay spot. They are behind, no doubt about it, but at the same time, Dignitas is mainly ahead thanks to the buildings they destroyed up to the top lane, and of course those extra 4 kills they got. Both teams have their level 7 talent yet. There's a lot of pressure coming out of that 4-man that we see up at the top, especially with Rimmer Baller being absolutely on point today with his hooks.
Yeah, Nubrak rotated his bottom to relieve Arthas for a small amount of time, which made this a 4v3, so the poke on Mane was just enough to get them pushed backwards. Trick Esports to go ahead and move up and grab these mercenary camps, open up that top lane, work towards those turrets. As you were mentioning, they want to get that experience back.
The big problem for Trick is still the second Immortal and level 10. Dignitas will hit it sooner than they will. Especially, of course, if Trick is not able to get a few kills in here. JPL at the bot lane moves in. They have Brightwing there too. The gank is strong, but it's not strong enough. So 3 heroes at the bot lane are not able to take out Chen. The camp is taken in the meantime by the rest of the team, and they really need to make sure that they are closing this gap in experience. And it's a tiny one, don't get me wrong, it's really just a small window. But if Dignitas hits the 10 and then can engage the battle immediately, they have a good shot at taking out 1 or 2 heroes and easily winning the second Immortal.
Yeah, that window is small, but with Dignitas the way they're playing right now, that window could be enough to be opened up gaping wide there and start breaking down their opponent, especially on that 10, and get those forts. So Trick Esports is now doing what they can here to break down that bottom lane to tie up that experience, but this is going to allow for Team Dignitas to come in for a flank, and they already have the choke watched here on the right side.
But Rema with a really good anchor there, making sure that nobody gets past him without him realizing that there is a flank setup. So here comes once again Dignitas. They're going in. Both of the teams still on level 9. Pulse Bomb explodes. Crosby is low, and he's down. Li Ming is dead after Bakery was helping out, especially, of course, Snitch here as Tracer went deep for that kill.
This is not looking good. The Mercs that were grabbed in the top break down the fort here. 10 has been hit. Dignitas gets aggressive on the Immortal, and Trick Esports will have to give up this halftime show to get 10 themselves, which is a giant lead here for Dig. They can play slow and they can play methodical around the fights here, especially with Cocoon coming on and Emerald Wind.
What Trick needs now, they need fights and they need to win them. So they go in. They already have the Triple Panda ready on the side of Alex. Curse Bullet as well. That's going to threaten the front line in particular. Can they get the fight and the kills, though? Ideally, with Rema hitting a hook, that would be the dream. Can they make it happen? That's the question.
Hook into Curse Bullet. Could they get on point here? Chen on the side, taking damage. JPL steps forward. Snitch on the side is being controlled by Make, that Greymane, ready to pounce at any point. The Immortal starts to be poked down by Tricked.
Crosby with really good combos on his Li Ming against Tracer as well, chunking her down to half HP, but the Tassadar shield helps out, but he keeps being dangerous. Li Ming the entire time with one volley after another, putting the pressure on the Tracer, but here comes the engages. JPL is going in once again. We have Stitches with a Devour, keeping himself alive, going for immediately his ult, but Emerald Wind pushes all of them back. Marke receives the Ancestral Healing as he's low. The hook hits once again, and it's a double kill as Arthas and Anubarak are both eliminated. Dignitas without a tank.
Yeah, Bakery's still in trouble here too as Alex Aproji goes in for the chase, and this fight is over. The Immortal is the next target here for Tricked Esports, and they find the moments to go for the fight. The massive Ancestral Heal helping out, and Anubarak being killed immediately hurts Dignitas.
Tricked was a bit overly aggressive in the early game, but right now way more coordinated. After the level 10, they get 3 kills and they win the Immortal. Experience is nearly even. Both teams now closing in on level 12, and with this push, there could of course be a massive amount of experience and advantage for Tricked Esports that we are going to soon see. But Tacita is still at that bot lane, trying to get that split value. Tricked, on the other hand, focusing with everyone up to the top. So it's a 5-man push, them opening up the wall early to allow Rimmer Baller to go for the hook.
All 5 pushing, as you mentioned, and Rimmer is the main target that has to keep an eye on. Dignitas moves in here. JPL will be hooked in. He didn't mind, though. He drops in the Impale, and it's all eyes on the Immortal. Try to focus it down here, as the clear is quite low for Dignitas compared to most compositions. They're sitting on the right side, continuing to take damage, but Snitch has to play careful.
And this is Trick just simply going for the fort. So in structures, they are even now. They evened up the playing field. They get the hook against Zelia. Cursed Bullet comes out. Arthas in trouble. Li Ming comes in, tries to isolate him as well. But Mark is about to explode here. Tries to keep himself alive and moves away. It seems like he is able to escape. But we have Chen completely taken apart here by Dignitas. Sacrifices himself as JPL is still looking to see if he might be able to catch Rimmer Baller here. Trick losing 1 hero. The Immortal getting a little bit more value. But overall, the game is still so even.
Yeah, we're going to have Alex Aproji dying on Chen as he dies for the sins of his teammates as Rhaegar almost gets focused down, but that force wall from Mene in particular was wonderful. The only thing that was really painful for Tricked Esports is Ancestor Healing was not available. It was 8 more seconds until it would have procced for them to be able to land on top of Greymane and turn around that fight. Great heads-up play by Dignitas and great engage there from JPL.
Greymane surviving was important though, but look at that pressure play that we see from Dignitas at the bot lane. They get the fort, they take it down. Both of the teams are now on level 13 talents, just picking up the talent. Immortal has not been announced yet. And just look at this fight here once again that we saw at the top lane once the hook hits.
Force wall comes out, locks in 3 people, and JPL comes in with the big, massive burrow charge. Maka gets low, a cleanse comes out from Nape, but you can see, even with down to 1 HP, he's effectively been killed. Alex Aproji goes on the right side to sacrifice himself for his teammates and maybe get Stormworth and Fire off.
It was really a cool play from Tricked and waiting for the hook here. But as you said, hooked on the Arthas, Howling Blast comes out, and then after the Howling Blast, the Force Wall that doesn't allow Trick to move back, and this gives Anubarak 3 targets for the Burrow Charge and the stuns. So that choke point was the problem for Tricked Esports here, but they are still pressuring the bot lane. Immortals just now announced, but it looks more and more as if we are going to see that fort fall if Tricked is deciding to commit here.
That's right, we're getting to a point here where the fort can be tanked by Alex Aproji without the minion waves. He's able to tank it forward, especially with the healing there from Nape, and they get the fort. This game is incredibly close here. It's all about the next Immortal phase here. As we're about to have level 14 for Tricked Esports. Crosby even starting the Mercs on the left side to get that pressure, while Dignitas starts their Mercs on the right side to push in the top.
And of course, there's a lot of wave play here for Tricked Esports. They have the Lightning Bond on Rhaegar. Also, Rhaegar now with the Earthen Shield on 13 can really make sure that his teammates survive a bit longer so that the Ancestral can hit. But they have a very cool wave play here, but they still lose out on the fight at this point. Tricked already starting to depush the bot top lane a little bit. Keep in mind, both of the teams have their Mercs now moving down the lanes. And Alex, it looks like he will go to the top now. He's joining up with the rest of the team, defending their own Immortal.
Defending it, watching out for the hooks here. Dignitas is going to pull on back, realizing they have that Merc camp in the top. They also have a Merc camp they have to defend. It's going to be all about isolating one person on the side here while both teams try to find that moment where they can go in.
Tricked is starting to poke again. They're starting to poke away here. Also noteworthy that Greymane already, of course, completed his level 7 talent. So he has full stacks now, and that helps him so much with the cocktail damage in these situations. 14 on both sides. Hooks are being thrown out, but we have Dignitas in the defensive position at this point.
Holding off on the side here. Snitch taking damage here on Alex and Proji. They're turning around. JPL getting a little bit low here as he tanks for the front line as Snitch is trying to harass. The harass is starting to really pay off for Trick Esports. Constantly Crosby on the side, soaking, putting in damage as much as he can here while Alex and Proji sits in the front and keeps drinking.
Alex is just in their face the entire time. And as you said, he just keeps drinking. They can't pressure him enough the entire time. He just sits right at the front, provides vision, has the tankiness, and starts poking and gives good goals to the rest. Marke isolated by a force wall. They're trying to go in. JPL is a little bit low as Arthur is moving in from the side with another Howling Blast, and they are going for Greymane. He goes down as the Ancestral. It's just a second too late. Cocoon in the backline immediately being used as JPL wants another kill.
Rimmer running on side here, walking out for Snitch. Gonna have the big Emerald One coming out. JPL gets low. Crosby's going in. He's looking for some flakes. Gonna have Chen helping out too. The Ice Block will come out from Bakery. He goes in, but Crosby gets the reset.
It's a 2-for-2, and Snitch is low. A 2-for-2, and Snitch is low. They're trying to go for Zelia. Knappe is already in trouble. He's trying to move away, but he still has the Ancestral. Why is he not using his Ancestral? Are you kidding me?
Comes out too late there, and Chen will die, and Knappe, looking like he may have not had enough mana, will eventually have to run away. The lone dog left, and Dignitas will turn around and grab the Immortal.
God, I can't believe that did he actually not have enough mana to use that? That was ridiculous. He could not use it. This is the first time he tries to use it. It doesn't work. Then he's attempting to burst the Cocoon down. Massive fight here, and somehow Trick actually gets a double kill after this. But now Ancestral is ready, and he can't use his... Yeah, he can't use it. He has the mana.
Looks like he was just barely out of range there on the top, but yeah, the Ancestral not coming out there could have swung the team fight for Trick Esports. Sadly, it's not here, in Dignitas will get an Immortal, they'll get level 16, and they'll get ready for a push.
That was really weird. That was Knappe just griefing. At that point, he had 2 targets for the Ancestral, and he missed out on it there. So that was really atypical for him.
Unfortunate.
He wanted to, I think he really didn't expect this pressure play that we saw against Li Ming at that point, and she fell too fast, and then when he was turning around to focus on Chen again, he was already dead, so I think there was just a little bit of a problem with the timing for him. Be it as it may, it results in them losing the Immortal, and now they have to fight back against Dignitas, going in with a level 16 talent on top of it, and that's the problem, and Dignitas is absolutely amazing exploiting these situations. They're trying to do that. Marke low and dead as Cocoon hits Rega. No, hits Li Ming. Great play here against by Dignitas, and they are ruthless in this.
Well, Ancestral does hit this time. We're going to have Rimmer still alive. Alex and Proji on the right side as the Panda will be able to jump on in. Snitch is going to be hit by a hook, but they turn around and look at the keep. The Immortal is low, so if Trick Esports doesn't lose any more targets on the field here, they should be fine for defense. In fact, they were even trying to go in for a fight. Sadly, not getting anything, though. They hold on for now, but looking poor.
Dignitas, great play here. 12 kills against 6. They're looking strong, and they want more. They want another kill. Wow, JPL goes super deep, but without the keep, he definitely can. Howling Blast misses Ramabola. JPL
reset.
Is low and dies. The reset is there. Crosby wants a second kill, doesn't get it. Snitch low, but gets the shield from Tacita as Mane moves out and covers the retreat with a force wall.
Chen, though, if he can get a hop on anyone here, he does have pressure point, which would slow them down and let his team continue moving in. He gets a jump. He's on top of Zelia. Tacita comes to the side. The hook comes out, but it does not connect.
He has the body blocks, and the Emerald Wind has been used. Gets the cleanse, but is he still close enough? He needs the energy, and he gets it. Here comes the Cursed Bullet. They want Zelia, but they are not successful.
Not getting the kills there. Team Dignitas using everything to get away from the fight, but they do. And Trick Esports is trying to answer back.
That game. This game is awesome. This is exactly what we're hoping for going into game number 1. Dignitas coming out swinging, absolutely ready for this fight. But Trick looked fantastic in the very early stage of the match. And then in a lot of the battles they also had a bit of an upper hand here. So at this point, it's just Dignitas' better coordination in the team fights that gives them the slight edge. Trick always able to get a counter kill, sometimes even 2. But the fights swing in the direction of Dignitas so far.
Yeah, they've just been getting the pivotal kills, the ones that are important around the Immortal phase. 12-7 here, as it's been a high kill count game for both of our teams. A nice lead here and experience for Dignitas, but not one that is unmanageable for Trick Esports, especially with the Immortal spawning now. We'll see how they try to handle this fight here. Remember, it all comes down to one hook or one good engage from Chen, and Trick Esports can start to answer back. But at the same time, one good pulse bomb and Dignitas can get their kills going.
Exactly. And once again, we just have the pressure play down here. Already trying to get the Immortal down, and this time the race is actually won by Trick Esports. They have the pressure with Greymane and the Lightning Bond. Now the Poke War is going to start up once again. And this is where Alex and his boys did really well in the last fight, up to the point where Greymane died because the Ancestral just came half a second too late. So Dignitas is going to look for that kill once more.
They have to watch out for these force walls. Mane has been killer with them every time, going in for a fight, setting up his opponents 4 kills. Here comes a big stun. Alex Aproji underneath the Immortal. Going to be okay for now. Crosby keeps the poke. A hook does connect. JPL Burrow charges out.
Burrow charges out, and also Cleanse had been used in this situation, but look at the hit point pools here. We are seeing Trick with a lot of pressure against the Immortal. They have amazing poke here. These stalemates are always won by Trick up to the point where Dignitas can get a kill. So if they can avoid losing a member, Trick should be fine here. And they actually go in for Snitch. Alex dodges the Tracer ult with his own. Here comes the hook against Bakery. Emerald Wind has to be used, and that's another big cooldown utilized.
Cocoon also used. Maka is being focused down on the left side, but Nape will keep him alive. Alex Aproji getting low on his pandas here. We'll have to turn around and drink. Ancestor healing does connect here, and Maka continues poking. The Immortal gets low at the same time.
Tassadar also incredibly low right now. He needs to be careful. Mane wants to throw in another shield. They go for Alex once again. Here comes the Tracer ult, and Chen is down. Can they get the kill against Zelia though? Heals himself, and that's the second kill as Greymane goes down. Snitch is on the hunt at this point. JPL wants another stun, gets it against Baller as Snitch moves in on Tracer. Knappe with the last second heal, but the Howling Blast and the triple kill.
Team Dignitas getting 3 kills here, and they turn around, they ignore the Immortal, and they're looking for a core. They're pushing forward here. 25 seconds before Chen is up. There is still a Li Ming and a Rhaegar. Both are low on mana. They need to get back here and get defended here. Snitch is going for the kill. He goes in for the bite here. Nape getting him low, but Snitch turns around and looks at the core.
Crosby needs mana. He needs mana, and he needs it fast. The core is already being attacked. Shot after shot is fired, but Snitch is just doing the damage, and the core is falling. Game number 1. Dignitas is looking strong here, 50%. Emerald Wind being used once again. 2 seconds until Chen is back, but I don't think it's matter anymore. 20, 10, and this is game. Dignitas takes it on Battlefield of Eternity against Trick eSports.
Dignitas will get the victory here on one of the strongest battlegrounds for Trick eSports, but they are looking like they are on fire today, getting the engages they want, and Mane on that Tassadar main landing important force walls, allowing his team to survive and get kills.
Dignitas definitely getting the kills here, but at the same time, I have to say this was Knappe's game. 2 kills against him on the Rhaegar in the early game that were avoidable, and then missing the oh-so-important Ancestral. And an easy Ancestral at that in a fight where they lose an initial target, they lose Greymane, they still get the double kill against Dignitas, and then Knappe just doesn't get the heal in. Normally we highlight how much of an impact he has on the positive side, but in this first game there were definitely a few hiccups in his play. Now they're down 1 map. Have to shrug it off and focus on the next one, but it just shows that both these teams are currently really ready to fight it out. I mean, that was a great first game.
Yeah, uncharacteristic here of Nape, but still great game between both these teams. A couple of moments here, if it was that Ancestor healing coming in, or even a better engage, or even some hooks hitting from Rimmer, I could see a world where Trick eSports gets the victory. Things just didn't fully pan out the way they wanted it to.
Talking about the hooks is actually another point, because I think we not only need to talk about Rimmer Baller here, we need to talk about how Dignitas played around the hook. They always had at the front, they basically had JPL always in a position where he was willing to eat the hook, since he knows he can move out. There's a Tassadar with a shield that can help him if really need be, and also Bakery was always ready for that cleanse as a follow-up, so they just kept everyone far back. That made it difficult for them to counter-poke, and they had to take a lot of damage on the Immortal, but Dignitas had the patience to make that play. And then once they knew that the hook was down, they were looking for a target and were trying to get the engage, and usually got it and got a kill. So from their perspective, that was fantastic play. Well thought out, very disciplined, and also very, very patient. And that's a patience a lot of teams don't have. Will go in a little bit too eagerly, all of a sudden lose a hero and then fall. Not so Dignitas. They played this perfect.
Well, speaking about supports here, we're going to go ahead and take an ideal look at Nape and, of course, Bakery, the supports here for both of our teams, and just check out their stats. Right now, in terms of takedowns, Nape has been an aggressive player. And in fact, that aggressive play in this game kind of hurt him in the early game. You see the takedowns up there, but looking at these heals, you can see why both these teams can be such a great contribution to their victories.
The aggressive style of Knappe, you see it at the kill participation at 93%. Higher than Bakery. The same also on the KDA. In this game, it backfired against him a bit, because he just died too often in the early stages. And the early game kills, it's nothing that really just is too crazy. You're still able to bounce back from it. But then later on, having those few, just that brain fart moment where he just doesn't get the heal through, it was weird. It was, I can only imagine it was a bit of a problem with communication.
Sure.
They've been talking about this a bit. That, for example, someone called for the Ancestral just as he was about to answer. Maybe maybe it was Alex asking for an Ancestral on the Chen, just as Knappe was about to Ancestral Li Ming. He hesitates for a second. In the meantime, Li Ming is down, then he turns back to Chen. Chen is also dead, so it's just one of those moments where it's just like,
I want to heal you both, but I can't.
Exactly.
Yeah, make a decision, go in.
Stuff like that just happens. It was just unfortunate for them that it happened in this particular situation. But overall, Trick played a great match here, had a lot of aggression coming out of them, which is exactly what they need against Dignitas, trying to throw them off their game. But Dignitas looking good.
Looking good, and we're going to go to game number 2 and see if they continue to look good or if Trick eSports will answer back and tie up the series. And I honestly hope so, man. I've been missing